Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Reserve day for India-Pakistan. What was your first reaction? Surprise, shock?
Listen, it's obviously a little surprised when I first heard, but at the same time, we don't organise a competition, so there's not a lot we can do about that. And to be honest, I only see it becoming a problem if a reserve day then provides points for other teams and affects maybe us or someone else. So, but there's nothing we can do about it, so we just get on with preparing and obviously do the best that we can.
Chris, is it a concern that the captain at number 7 not been scoring runs since the qualifier as a coach, and as you all prepare for a game, finalizing the 11, is it a concern?
Well, obviously, Dasun is working extremely hard at the moment, as he always does. We're working hard with him to give him that confidence to give the runs that we know he can. We think at 7 he can add a real strong contribution for us down the order and help build on the good starts that we've been getting. Obviously, we've been getting to a position where we could launch from, and it'd be great to see Dasun go in and really hurt somebody and get us above that 300 mark at some point. So obviously he's working very hard and we're working very hard with him to allow him to do that.
Chris, Sri Lanka beat Bangladesh at Pallekali. Now we move to our Premdas Stadium, playing against same opponent. How do you feel about different venues, different wickets? How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, yes, we have played Bangladesh once and thankfully came out on the right side of that competition. But what I will say is that, I mean, Bangladesh have been playing some good cricket as well, and there's some very good cricketers amongst their team. So for us, we've been watching that, we've been preparing well. We know we've got a good game coming towards us, and we've got to make sure that we're ready for that in every sense. And yes, obviously different surface here compared to what we had up in Kandy, and we will have to make sure that our combinations are right for this wicket. So, I mean, once I've finished talking to you, I'll be having a look at the wicket and obviously talking to the selectors.
Yeah, Chris. First match, our top order not performed well, and the second match, middle order collapsed. So, is there any preparations, especially Dhananjay and the zone not performing well, both matches? So, what is the preparation for that?
Yeah, again, same as the answer I've just given for Dasun, really, is obviously with the two of them sat at 6 and 7, we want them to provide, obviously, firepower down the order for us to help us launch from that platform that we've been very good at setting so far. So obviously we'll be working hard with them, making sure that their confidence in the net, working at their game. It's not a case of just going out and slogging it, it's about doing it their way, I mean, hitting their strong shots and making sure that they have a clear plan of how they're going to execute that. And equally, if we find ourselves not in a good position, as we've seen in the past, Dhananjay has been very good at getting us out of a hole and helping us obviously get a score that we can then defend.
Oh, Chris, after the Sri Lanka-Afghanistan match, Afghanistan specially coach said they didn't get any information about the reverse target after 37.1. How, did you get the information during that match about after 37.1 hours we had another chance for the qualify for the Super?
I knew you would ask this. Listen, I mean, it's first and foremost, obviously we saw that what was on TV, which was 37.1. And then we did some digging the night before anyway. Our analysts had a look at a few things, but it wasn't until sort of late on in the piece that people realised, well, hang on a minute, they can potentially still go here. So we had to make sure that we were switched on. I have to say, I felt for Afghanistan in that situation. I don't think it's something that we see very often, and I think it will probably be a little bit of a watershed moment of how teams potentially view the run rates and the calculations beyond that. So I think it would be this particular instance will be written down as a huge learning curve, not just for the two teams involved, but for every team that's out there.
Chris, during that run chase by Afghanistan, Sri Lanka's death bowling especially looked a little flustered. So what have you all spoken about it within the team environment, and what do you see that the players like Kasun Raj, Matish and the rest of the spinners can do to improve their, especially death bowling against teams which are coming against you?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I will say that, listen, in that situation, Afghanistan had nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So, yeah, I mean, going into the fielding part, I spoke to the team and said, listen, they are going to come hard, so expect the world to get chaotic around you for a while, because actually that is what's going to happen. And it was always going to go one of two ways. They were either going to get close or they would fall away. And as it happened, I thought, you know, when they played some wonderful innings there, with some great hitting from some of their players, so we have to give them credit for the way that they sort of managed themselves to there. But equally, yes, there's learning curves for us. So the day after, we sat with the bowlers, myself, the bowling coach, the analysts, and went through what they did do and potentially what they could have done better. You know what I mean? Do we go wide Yorkers or do we go straight Yorkers? Which is our strengths? Okay, did this plan work? Did it not? So you question everything, and then hopefully there's learning from that, which then we can take into the next game, and importantly, take into practice with them as well. And it's just reminding them that actually, listen, you do have a strength, so make sure when in doubt you go to your strength and make sure that that works. So yeah, there was a lot of learning for us as well that came out of it as well. It was great to come out on the right side of the game under so much pressure as well. One of the things that I do with the team is challenge them constantly to find solutions. And as close as it got, and I'm sure we were all sort of chewing our nails and everything, there was a lot of nerves kicking around everywhere. To come out on the right side of that, I think will give these guys confidence as well. So we've got to take the positives from that and make sure that we obviously put them into the next game as well. But yeah, lots of learning.
Hi, Coach. This is Mahfouz Alam from T Sports Bangladesh. My question is that we can see that Bangladeshi top order batters, they are not performing regularly or consistently. On the other hand, we also see some irregular phase in the top order too, who are not the regular phase. But Bangladeshi bowlers, they are doing really good. The pace trio, Shakib Al Hasan along with Mehdi and Miraj. So on the other hand, we are watching that Bangladeshi bowlers are doing really good, having a control on the game. So how are you addressing, before Bangladesh-Sri Lanka match here, the Bangladeshi bowling side?
Well, first and foremost, I agree. I think Bangladesh have got a very strong bowling unit. From what I've seen so far, this competition, I've been very impressed with them. You know, in particular, the pace bowlers. They're big, they're strong, they're accurate, they get movement. So there's a lot going for them in the pace bowling department. So again, we have to make sure that we prepare well and that we're prepared mentally and physically for what is going to come at us, which we know is going to be a strong bowling attack. I think from a batting perspective, from a Bangladesh batting perspective, we have to try and make sure that we keep the pressure on them. It is as simple as that, really. We know that, yes, they haven't got the runs that they may like, but we know that they're capable of getting runs. So we have to give them that respect and make sure that we try and keep the pressure on them all the time. So hopefully get the wickets. So it'll be really simple that we'll try and apply the pressure, get the wickets, and then from a bowling attack point of view, we've got to make sure that each individual batsman on our side has a plan of how they're going to cope with each individual bowler on the Bangladesh side.
Hi Chris, how ready or otherwise is Kusal Perera? Because given the World Cups in the horizon and given a little bit of newness in the middle order, how ready is he and how much is he contributing from not being part of the 11, and how quickly or soon do you see him play an active role in the side?
I think he's ready now. He struggled to start because obviously he got COVID and it took him a while to actually recover from that properly, but he feels good now. So we've just got to make sure that we're preparing him well, as we are doing out there tonight, to make sure that if required he's ready. We try very hard and work very hard to make sure that if you're not in the 11, you still feel very much part of the family that's out there. You're very much part of the squad. And it's not just the 15, we're carrying 17. And it's really important that all of them feel that they have a voice in that dressing room and they're very much a part of that dressing room. So, you know, I mean, I think he feels fine in that respect. I think he's just waiting for his chance to come now so he can take it.
Coach, Bangladesh has had 3 different combinations in the top orders for the last 3 matches. So how difficult is it to plan against a team who has such uncertain top order and uncertain batting order?
Obviously, it adds its difficulties to that when there's no consistency there. As you say, we've seen 2 different approaches now. But the fact is, we analyse every batsman anyway, and each bowler makes individual plans for that batsman. So actually, it shouldn't really matter which order they come in at. It's a case of making sure that when that batsman comes in, whoever is bowling at the time knows what he's going to try and do and give himself the best chance of obviously carrying that plan out. Is what, sorry? Have you got the mic? I can't hear it, please.
Are you prepared to face something like that in the next match as well, something surprising from Bangladesh?
Listen, you never know, do you? That's sport. I mean, that's one of the things we love about sport. You never know what's going to come your way. and part and parcel is being flexible. But I think as long as you've done your homework and as long as you know the players that are coming in, because we don't just prepare for what we think the 11 will be, we're preparing for the guys outside of that as well. So if there is any curveballs, we're not sort of fighting to catch up, so to speak. So it's whatever happens, that's absolutely fine by us. We're not fazed by that. We'll just make sure we're prepared.
Chris, we started off with the same thing, the rain rule. You have spoken about being a little surprised with the rain rule. One, have you ever been a part of a tournament from street cricket to grade cricket to international, wherein there are different sets of rules for different teams in a league tournament?
A different what, sorry? Oh, the reserve day. Listen, I think it's obviously refer back to my first answer. There's nothing we can do about that. Yes, I was surprised, as I'm sure everybody was, but there's nothing we can do about that. And as I said earlier, I think the only time people will worry about that is if it actually, that extra day gives somebody a result that then affects everybody else in that table. I think it may become a problem then. Thank you, guys. Thank you.